Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is MrYorkiesWorld. Welcome to the UK and Ireland tour for 2018 on this channel. I am extremely excited to get started. You can see that we are with Flybe today. To be exact, Flybe 4483 in the 737-700. We have some absolutely amazing weather going on here. We're going to be flying all the way over to Belfast City. It's a very short flight. It takes about 55 minutes. But this is an amazing flight to kick off the UK and Ireland tour, so I thought, why not, let's just go ahead and do it. So, really liking the Flybe aircraft. I don't really think that Flybe use the 737-700 anymore. The catering trucks are on the way, by the way. I don't think they use this aircraft, but nevertheless, I don't have any Airbus aircraft or the Q400 or anything, so I decided let's just go ahead and start using the new expansion pack that I've purchased, which is the 737 expansion pack, obviously. It contains the 700 and the 600, so... Nevertheless, we can go to the doors and open those up for GSX for the catering, get that started. Really nice weather in the UK today. And you can see that the trucks are going to get in position and everything's going to get set up. So we're at gate number 4, the parking brake's already set. We are going to go ahead and fuel, and today we are going to be taking a total of £11,107 worth of fuel. We can set the auto brake to RTO. And yes, I'm extremely excited. We're going to activate the fuel pump straight away. Should probably only need one fuel pump at this stage, but I always put them all on just for the sake of it. We've got some other aircraft over there. It's not normally very busy at Doncaster Sheffield Airport, and I think mainly that is because it's quite a small airport. But nevertheless, we can switch on the wheel well light just for the walk around. Our cruising altitude today is going to be 360, and we can arm the emergency lights and align the IRSs. So this is extremely exciting. As I said, if you're a patron, you are watching now as these videos are released. If you're not a patron, you will be seeing this after the entire thing is released, and it's going to be in its own sort of playlist. If you want to see stuff like this as it's released, you can become a patron for as little as like $1 a month or something, I think it is. But nevertheless, we're at gate number 4 today. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Get GPSL position, stick that in there as well. The altimeter is 3012 for today. We might as well go ahead and set the transponder to XPDR. Go to the route page, and I'm going to see whether the route's going to work or not. So EGCN to EGAC. No, it's not. Just bear with me a moment. I'm going to have to go in to EFB and sort that out. It seems to happen all the time for some reason. I save the route, and then when I try and load it, it's magically deleted itself, which is a little bit strange. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and request from ATC which runway we're going to be using and stuff like that, and request clearance. Switch on the flight directors and the VORs and everything. And it's going to be runway 20, which is 201 on the heading, and 6,000 on the initial altitude. There we go. That's all set up. We might as well get the engine page up just in case we need that. So runway 20, and our flight number today is going to be BE4483. Stick that in there, activate and execute. And we might as well go ahead and sort the doors out for GSX before they start shouting at us, as always. We can request boarding now because the catering's been completed and everything. And our zero fuel weight is 107.1 today. Our reserves is 3, and I don't know what the cost index is for Flybe, so I'm literally just going to put 30 in just for the sake of it, because I've no idea. The transition altitude is 6,000, and our cruise altitude today is going to be 360, so we can execute that. And the 24K is no longer a D rate, so I'm going to use 22K D rate for the 737-700 with flaps 5. And if we go ahead and get some wins from EFB, I get everything from there now. So, we are looking at 142 at 8 knots. There we go, so 142 at 8 knots. V2 speed is 128. There we go. So we're going to be using the Upto 1 Alpha departure from runway 20, which is there. We can stick that in, execute. That's the route. It's nothing special, it's just a very basic route. Just going to close down that. Right. Now, let's go ahead and switch on the yaw damper with the window heats. The APU power needs transitioning in a moment, or transferring. We can open the doors for some boarding. There we go, you can hear the passengers being boarded. LNAV doesn't seem to want to arm. I've tested this before, just before we did the actual flight, and for some reason it wouldn't arm, and we do get a warning on takeoff as well, for some unknown reason. But apart from that, we're okay. There's nothing else really that goes wrong from the very quick test that I did just before I started the flight. But anyways, here we go with the very first flight on the European tour. We're just waiting for the passengers to be boarded, and I'll be right back with you guys in just a sec.
Baggage handling is complete and the aircraft is clear, sir.
Okay, so the baggage handling has been completed, as you just heard. We can arm the auto throttle now. And I'm going to go ahead and remove ground connections after I've closed all the doors and everything, because we no longer need ground connections either. This is the gear view that I'm going to be using. I've set a new sort of view up in Chase Plane, and when we drop the gear over, when we're ready to land, you'll be able to see that view. So we can switch on the hydraulics with the anti-collision light, and of course, as I said, I'm going to remove the ground connections, get them out of the way. There we go. And we can get ourselves ready, basically, to get the hell out of here. Right. Request startup and pushback.
Jersey 4483. Start up and push.
They call us Jersey. I'm not sure whether that does mean Flybe. If people can let me know in the comments section, that'd be really helpful. I'm going to go ahead and switch the transponder to TA and RA and do a quick test. No reason why it shouldn't be okay. We're going to go tail left today. It's the only way we can go.
TCAS test. Pass.
And that's all passed. Fantastic. Tow truck's in motion. It's down there somewhere. Just a case of waiting now.
Good day, sir. Just waiting for some apron traffic while the tug's positioning. We'll be pushing back in a couple of minutes. Parking brake on, please.
Parking brake's already set, that's fine. Really excited to be setting off the tour with a flight from my own hometown. The airport itself is only about, I think it's like 4 and a bit miles away from my house. I literally see aircraft taking off and landing over the top of my house all the time. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's brilliant to be able to have the UK 2000 scenery for Doncaster Sheffield as well, because it looks exactly the same as what it does in real life. You can see that it's just really well put together, the textures are nice. Look at that. What a nice view. Good old service air.
Tug is in position, bypass pin is inserted. Apron's now clear, ready to push. Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Clear behind.
And we can get ready to start engine number 2.
Engine's clear, start at your discretion.
There we go. We're going to wait while about 25% N2, and we can go ahead and release the fuel. I never used to do this because I was never that picky, but I just started doing it lately. So we might as well release some fuel into the engine. Got some new views on the right wing now. Forward, just in front of the engine there, and behind the engine as well on the actual wing. Like a proper wing view. Well, both of them are proper wing views, but yeah. You get the point. So engine number 2 is spooling up. There we go. There was the little puff of smoke. We've also got some nice shadows on the ground. I don't know why they're a little bit blocky, because they are on high quality shadows, but nevertheless. There was the cutout. We can start engine number 1. Same procedure, 25% N2, and then we can release the fuel. So if anybody, again, if you would like to see, if you're watching this right now, chances are you are a patron, because you'll be watching this as it's being released. If not, then this will all be available to you. The entire flight, the entire tour is going to be available in its own playlist on YouTube. And if you're watching that right now as a playlist, if you don't want to miss out when stuff like this happens in the future, you can become a patron for as little as like $1 a month. I think it's something like that. It really helps me out, it really helps everybody else out, because it allows me to purchase new add-ons and obviously give back to the community, such as what I'm doing with this tour. So I never ask for donations. You don't have to become a patron if you don't want, but anybody who does choose to become one, there are some perks and stuff like that. So, nevertheless, parking brakes set. We can switch on the probe heats now. The packs themselves can also go on once we've transferred the power and set the engines to continuous. So packs, and then the APU bleed can come off, and the APU itself can come off. I'm not going to switch on the taxi and turn off just yet, until GSX has told us we can. But the trim can be set, and we can also set flaps 5. Like so. You can see those flaps coming down as well. That's why I like chase plane, because I've been able to come up with these new views now, so I've not just got one set of views, like just looking over the engine. I've actually got views looking at the backs of the wings and stuff, so you can see this happening without me having to pan around all the time. So that's the flaps done. They are successfully down.
Disconnected and clear. Bypass pin is removed.
Full left on the controls. Full right on the controls. We can go into the cockpit and do full forward, which is a bit dodgy because of my joystick, and full back, rudder left and rudder right. Right, so, lights on. Bye-bye, sorted. Right. Request taxi. There is only one way to the runway. To either runway, believe it or not. Charlie and Alpha.
Charlie Alpha, runway 20, BE4483.
Right, parking brake is released. We can add some power, get ourselves out of here as fast as we possibly can. I cannot wait to see the scenery over at Belfast City. It should be pretty interesting. It's the George Best Airport is what it's also known as well. And I suppose I'd best tell you guys a bit of information about this flight. So, again, we are with Flybe 4483 in the Boeing 737-700 today, departing from runway 20 at EGCN, Doncaster Sheffield, landing at Belfast City, which is EGAC. The flight is about 55 minutes long, and we're going to cover about 228 nautical miles, with a flight level of 360. Again, I'm not sure that Flybe actually used this aircraft. I think they have in like years ago. I think they've used the 737-700 or like one of the variants, but they no longer use this aircraft for this flight. They use the Q400 or one of the Airbuses or something, I think. But I thought, why not? I've just purchased the expansion pack for the 737, so why not just test it out? And there just happened to be a livery for Flybe. So we sort of killed two birds with one stone there. We managed to still do the flight, and we also got a new aircraft, which is virtually the same as the other PMDG aircraft, like the 737. It's no different really in terms of the cockpit, but it just looks a little bit better, I think. It just on the outside, it's obviously a bit of a smaller aircraft compared to the 800 and 900. The 600 and 700s are a little bit smaller. And they are still knocking about. They are still doing flights in these aircraft. Not as much as the 738 and 739, but they are still using them from what I know. But there we go. So I'm going to try and not go too quick. Keep it to about a ground speed of about 20 or something like that. So that's it. We are going to be, the next handoff we're going to have from tower is going to be cleared for takeoff, hopefully. And as I said, the runway is literally 2 seconds away. It's not very far away at all. The airport is not a massive airport. Although you'd think it would be, because the amount of times I've seen 747s, 777s, Antonovs, things like that, massive aircraft coming in over the top of my house is ridiculous, but there we go. So we can line up so the landing lights can come on, the taxis can come off, and the strobe lights can come on. And we can make our way to the runway. Or onto the runway, should I say. We're already there, basically. I'm hoping my joystick is in a good mood today. I only use the joystick, basically, and it's a very cheap one with a throttle like inbuilt to it. It's got the rudder inbuilt as well, you have to twist it and stuff. And for some reason, especially on takeoff, the aircraft doesn't seem to want to leave the ground, and that is the same with any aircraft. So it can be quite difficult to use. I'm hoping eventually I might be able to save up some money and buy the sort of yoke and stuff like that, and like a full set. But there we go, clear for takeoff. We can go ahead and start the clock, spooling up to 40%. And with that, we might as well go ahead and toga. There's the warning light. Again, this happened on the test takeoff that I did to make sure everything was configured properly, because I'd never taken off in a 737's 700 before. There's nothing that's showing yellow or anything that's not been done correctly. Everything's okay, so it must be something something I've missed or something, but there we go. So rotate. Nice gentle rotation. It's worked this time. I'm actually quite impressed. There we go. Positive rate. Gears on its way up. Nice wing view. Very, very short and sweet sort of departure this is going to be. We're going to go back on ourselves, turn left and go all the way back on ourselves, which sort of, I don't know why, but there we go. Nevertheless, LNAV is now working. We can arm that. I'm going to manually control the aircraft for a few minutes. Look at that view. We've got the active sky cloud art, doing all the clouds and sky and stuff like that. We've got PTA, and obviously we've got Orbex. All my add-ons are in the description of all of my videos now. I've decided to put the add-ons in there for everybody to see. You would be surprised by how many people actually contact me on social media or leave comments asking for my add-ons. So if you want further information, it's all available on my social media as well, my Facebook, Twitter. You can also find it on my Discord and stuff like that. But nevertheless, let's put the engines to the off position and switch off the runway turn-offs. We can set the cabin signs to auto now. Look at those cloud shadows, look at the clouds themselves. Everything is just absolutely lovely. But nevertheless, that is it. I'm going to jump straight into some cinematics now. There's not much else to see. And I will see you guys very, very soon over at Belfast City. See you in a bit. Okay guys, so we are now within the 150 mile radius I usually set. We're going to request our descent. We did not stay at flight level 360 for a very long time, I can assure you. It's 10:11 AM or 10:12 now. I'm going to try to just use the speed. LNAV and VNAV, leave them in control, but adjust the speed a little bit to try and control our descent. We've only been asked to go to 350. But nevertheless, this can be quite difficult messing around with the speed, because it doesn't always work the way you want it to. It doesn't always sort of descend at the right time. But this, as you can see, is the approach. 108.1 on the localizer, 220 on the approach course, and 215 as the minimums, which we're going to set in just a second. We are just coming up on that 100 mile radius ring. We're going to use auto brake number 2, and I'm going to go ahead and sort out the... No, I'm not. I'm going to click on the wrong thing. Let me just reset standard. And it needed to be this knob. Right. 215. And we can do the same on the first officer's side. So 215. There we go. Right. So we're at 350 now. It's 10:13 AM. Coming into that 100-mile radius ring. Look at that.
Descend to flight level 250.
250 now on the altitude. There we are. Again, I'm going to try to let the aircraft automatically descend us, but I've got a funny feeling I might have to end up using vertical speed. I do prefer vertical speed just because I like to be in full control of the descent. I know it might not be what's done in the real world, but there we go, that's what I do. So I'm going to use that now just to make sure that that green range arc gets me to where I need to be at a particular time, so that we're not rushing at the last minute. So that's looking good. You can see the EFIS there with the range rings and everything. I like to just be in control of it, but look at the clouds. You cannot go wrong with these clouds. Absolutely fantastic. Really cannot beat it. So anyway, I think what I'm going to do now is set the frequencies. So it was 108.1, and I might even put them in the active as well. I know I probably shouldn't do that yet, but I'm going to do it anyway, just so we're prepared. Right, the progress page said 10:38 we should be landing. We're going to be using flaps 30 at 126. We're going to set the course, which is 219 on both sides, like so. 10:14 AM. Just going to reduce that vertical speed a little bit.
Turkish 1-2, maintain present altitude.
And we're looking good, to be honest. Look at the clouds, absolutely amazing. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that I'd purchased the Active Sky Cloud Art. So 10:15 AM. And if we go down again to the progress page, 10:38 AM is when we should be landing. So it's not too far in the future. We've only got a limited time to wait. So, again, 126 at flaps 30. Stick that into the little memory device there. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's so handy if you've not got, like, I mean, I use a pen and paper all the time, but just to have it like inbuilt into the simulator as well as a part that they really do use in the real world, it's just adds a bit of extra realism. So, going to mess around with the speed a bit, see if we can get that range arc just to stay where it is. I really cannot get over the views. I really can't. It's absolutely fantastic. The amount of money that I've spent on the sim is ridiculous. But then again, I couldn't do it if it wasn't for all of you guys who have decided to subscribe to the channel to support me, for the people who have donated, for the people who are patrons. I wouldn't be able to afford the add-ons and stuff that I can if it wasn't for you guys.
Jersey 4483, descend to flight level 150.
150 on the altitude. Again, trying to keep that vertical speed going so that the arc just stays where we need it to be. I'm going to try it with LNAV and VNAV together, and you can see what happens. So if I, for example, try and keep the speed at 250 or something like that, LNAV and VNAV, it doesn't really work unless I have to sort of... see, if I put it into automatic now, it's spooling up, and I don't really want it to be spooling up too much, because we need to be able to decelerate. And it doesn't always work out. I've tested it multiple times, and it's probably because I'm not setting up the VNAV profile properly. I have no idea, but I just prefer to be in full control like I am now, and we'll get there with the vertical speed. I'm not putting any stress on the aircraft or anything. If I really had to slow down, I'd probably use speed brakes, but it's not really necessary at this minute in time. So we're looking good. So nevertheless, that is it. We're going to descend. I will probably catch up with you guys a little bit later on when we are ready to capture the ILS and intercept it. So I will catch up with you guys in just a few minutes. Okay guys, so we have got a little bit of turbulence now. You can see that we have been vectored off of our flight plan there on the EFIS. We're supposed to be going to a heading of about 333, but for some reason the wind is blowing us the opposite way, so we're having to fight the wind a little bit. We're going to use the ILS runway 22. Unfortunately, there isn't a star for that. We just have to get sort of vectored. So 330, as you can see, we're actually at heading 337. If we do turn, because of the wind, we're actually going to get blown slightly off of that. So I'm going to try to just overshoot it a little bit so that we hopefully get to 330. I'm setting flaps number 2. There we are on the heading 331. We just need a little bit more to get to 330. It's 10:34 AM. You can see 331 there. It's about right, I'm not too fussed. You can see the ILS feathers as well. We are approaching those. We're actually going to have to overshoot those feathers and then come back on ourselves. And that should allow us time to descend as well, because we're going to be descending to about 2,000 feet. For our for final approach, sort of intercept altitude. Can hardly see a thing with all these clouds. We are literally just coming through them, so that's why. Loving the shadows as well. You notice how every now and then you'll see like a shadow like that one there in the cockpit. I've got every single shadow enabled now in the simulator, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. The GTX 980 and the 4790K Intel processor, so... Right, so speed is 240, time is 10:35, altitude is 5,000. Flaps 2 are currently extended. We've got the ILS course and the ILS frequency set up in the nav radios. We've got auto brake 2. The only one thing I haven't done yet is arm the speed brake, which I will do very, very shortly. I'll probably wait while we're on final to do that, to be honest. You can see the wind, again, is pushing us to the right, but once we actually get on track for the runway, it'll be a headwind, so it'll be perfect. Love the clouds, absolutely gorgeous. As we descend a little bit lower, you'll be able to start seeing the scenery as well. There's some really nice scenery surrounding Belfast City. I've not flown into this payware airport before, but I've flown near it, and I've also flown into it when it's not been payware, when I didn't own the scenery. So I've seen like the scenery outside of it, which is obviously courtesy of Orbex, FTX Global. A few moments ago you did get a little peek of it, so hopefully when we descend a little bit further down we'll be okay. 270, 2000, and I'm going to use vertical speed just for that descent because we are so close to the localizer now. We're probably going to be okay on the glide slope. The glide slope will seem as though it's fine for this distance, but I like to just be at the exact altitude that ATC have told us. There we go, you can see we are on a perfect heading, or we will be on a perfect heading to intercept. I thought they were going to vector us out to go, like, overshooting the localizer there and everything, but they haven't, so that's a first for me. But you can see it's approaching quite rapidly. 220 on the speed at the minute, I'm probably going to reduce that. We're at flaps 5 is coming down. Just to drop off some more speed, we can reduce that now to 215. Flaps 30 at 125, so it's only changed by 1 knot, but I will put it to 130 because of the wind. We've got quite a bit of a headwind. So just to be safe, just to be on the safe side. And here comes the amazing scenery. I'm going to arm the VOR lock. Again, I thought we were going to go across the localizer and then come back round, but for some reason they haven't done that this time, which is fine. Arm the speed brake. Right, okay, so we've been cleared for the approach. 10:38 AM. 2,500 feet. And we should start to intercept the... there we go, the localizer. We can arm approach hold, 210 on the speed. Look at that. Water reflections and everything, absolutely love it, love it. And there is the scenery that I was on about. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's not even at the airport yet. I'm going to take the speed down to 200. I'm going to go flaps 10. We are below 210 knots, so that's fine. I'm just going to increase it a tiny bit, just so it's right on the edge there. Look at that. That is definitely worthy of being a thumbnail, I should imagine. Not sure whether it will be, but there we go. Localizer's coming in nicely. Glide slope is way out, but we will get there eventually.
On final, runway 22.
Final approach speed, so 130 knots.
Final approach speed, QNH 1016. Clear to land, runway 22.
We can drop the gear in just a few seconds. Just wait while that speed comes off. There we are. Dropping the gear. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Got the waves underneath us. We've got that amazing scenery to the right of the aircraft. Apologies about those black textures we just saw, but we are coming into some brand new UK 2000 scenery. Flaps are now going down to 30. So the gear's down with 3 greens. The flaps are on the way to 30. We've got the speed brake armed. And we are established. So the landing checklist is complete, I would say. Look at that. If somebody can please make a count of how many look at that's I've said in this video, that would be fantastic, because it seems every video I do I just have more and more look at that sessions. I just, you know, it's my favourite saying. But there we go, we have intercepted the glide slope now. I will be disconnecting. Oh my goodness. That is just... that's perfect. Even without URP, the Ultimate Realism Pack, you can see that you know, it's still amazing. I mean, the black textures, you can sort of ignore those, and the clouds have just decided to appear, but I really couldn't care less. We've got some seriously nice scenery on the way in. And this is the first time I've landed at this airport as well. I've seen it on videos and stuff like that, but I've never actually landed myself in the simulator at Belfast City. So it should be pretty much experience, if anything else. I just cannot get over the amazing scenery. We don't have winglets in this particular variant of the livery. For some reason they didn't have a livery for Flybe in the 737-700 that had winglets. But nevertheless. So we're fully configured for landing. Looking good. We're perfectly on profile. The wind will be blowing us a little bit to the right of the runway, but it's not really a major thing. It's only like an 8-knot wind, so I'm not really too worried about that. Coming up on 1,000 feet, I am going to go ahead straight away and take control of the aircraft. I've left the auto throttle in. Again, the reason for that being my joystick has a throttle that is built in, as well as the rudder which is built in, and you know, everything's sort of in the control of my hands, so it's a bit difficult for me to do everything at once. Eventually, once I get enough money, I will go ahead and purchase a full flight kit, so I'll get like the rudder pedals, the throttle quadrants, and I'll also go ahead and get myself a yoke, and that should be pretty epic. Look at the scenery coming down into this, though. Just going to try and keep on the sort of... I'm going to ignore the pappies and just go with the PFD. I've got a funny feeling that we're going to be a little bit low, according to the pappies, but nevertheless we're okay. Yeah, hold your position 493, because I am literally about to land. And I do not want to have to go around. Look at the detail. Like the buildings and stuff. Continuing. I am absolutely loving this. Let's see if we can grease this landing.
50, 30, 20, 10.
And there we go, touchdown. Reverses are green. Decel. Spoilers are out. 80 knots. 60 knots, manual braking. Reversers are on the way in. Unfortunately, double tapping the brakes doesn't disengage the auto brake on the 737, and I'm not sure why. I know it does work on the 777, but nevertheless, welcome everybody to Belfast City, or George Best Airport is what it's known as, I think. We'll soon see, because we'll see. I think it's got like a label on. Disengage the auto brake. It's got like a, not a label, a sign, sorry. Here we are. And we can come to a controlled stop and clear up the aircraft, get rid of any warnings. And then we can go ahead and park ourselves up. But that, I'm really happy with that. I am definitely happy with that landing. Flight directors, VORs, traffic and data can all come off now. Both sides, obviously. We can start the APU, switch off the turn-offs. In fact, no, we need those on with the taxi lights, actually. I do that every time. Engines to the off position. The strobes can go to steady. Now we can set the parking brake and sort of request taxi to parking.
4483. It's cleared off the runway. Request taxi for parking.
Flaps are on the way up.
483, taxi via Alpha to terminal 1, gate 10.
Via Alpha.
Gate 10, so gate 10, basically.
4483.
Just gonna wait while those flaps go up. Like so. Love the airport. I love the detail and stuff. This is the first time I've seen it, remember, so since installing it. So the European tour will be well known for introducing me to some brand new scenery that I've purchased but not used. I'm going to zero all the numbers here. I always do it. I've got like a bit of OCD that just tells me I have to do it. I've no idea why. So once we've done that, we can ask GSX to prepare us at the gate. We can turn off the transponder and reset the frequencies. Parking brake released. And we will make our way to gate 10. I like how the lorry in the background just disappeared. It's a bit weird. So gates, right, next page. Gate 10. Now it's telling me it's too small, so I'm probably going to have to go over there. I'll prepare the gate anyway. And once we're parked up, I'll have to force GSX to allow ground services. It does this sometimes. GSX doesn't always take into account new scenery and stuff. So, or it does, but it doesn't take into account the like the size of the gates and stuff properly. So you have to sort of sort it out yourself. Got plenty of Q400s around the area. We've also got some Airbuses. Got one taking off there on the left. What an amazing view. Off he goes. I was going to purchase the Q400 to be honest, but I never actually got round to it. I thought I spent a hell of a lot of money recently on the sim and I didn't want to spend any more money than I had to. But there we go. Welcome to George Best, Belfast City. Hope you enjoyed the flight on the way in. I really did. I'm so happy with the scenery and stuff. And our gate, I believe, is coming up. So we can slow down a little bit, sort the lights out, and we can turn our way into the gate and see if I can mess up this parking. Some cars speeding round the corner at ridiculous speeds. That was a terrible lineup. But the good thing about having the gear view that I set up is the following. So when you're parking, you can also use it for that, so that you're dead on where you need to be. Like so. Parking brake set. And this is where the fun starts. So ground services are not available. Right. Well, I'm going to go to add-ons, GSX, customise airport positions, and all you have to do, once you're parked at the gate, is click that aircraft, click apply, and then come out of it. And that will allow you to use... What the hell have I done here? That will allow you to use ground services. So 10:49 AM is when we successfully got to the gate. We're going to revoke parking services and then put them back in again, because GSX is weird. I need to cut the engines first anyway, so... Transfer the power. Cut the engines. Seatbelt signs to auto. Connecting ground power as well, that's an important step. And we can finally request deboarding with service air, because nothing else is available. And that is it. Welcome everybody to Belfast City. This has been a Flybe flight from Doncaster Sheffield, leg number 1 of a total of 5 flights that we're going to be doing on the UK and Ireland tour. If you're watching this as a subscriber, once it's all finished and it's all been released in itself, remember, if you become a patron, you can see stuff like this all the time, immediately when it's released. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Really look forward to the next leg, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.